Let's take this to God. Father God, thank you for a beautiful morning. Thank you for everyone in this space today, Father, that came here just simply to be with other people who choose to spend time learning about you and talking about you. Father, there is nothing more beautiful to you than a group of people who come to just talk about what you've done in their lives and what freedom you've brought to them. And God, I pray today that those that walked in here with their own burdens are met by you in a way that makes those burdens weightless to them because you are carrying it. Father, I pray for grace and mercy as each individual here needs it. I want to pray, though, specifically for Katie and for her mother who is dealing with some heart issues. And God, I just pray that your hand is all over this. And I just pray that there is healing, that this procedure that was done, Father God, this is not so much a heart issue as a blood vessel issue, and it's near the brain, and there's stroke concerns and worries, and there's some leaking and all those things and worries that happen in these situations. Father God, I just pray for full healing, that everything responds well and that all heals and is okay, and that she can return home. Father God, I just pray that that is your will in this situation. And I want to just lift up Jacqueline, who is just hurting today, Father. Her stepfather has suffered a heart attack and is in the hospital. And I pray, Father, that your hand is all over this, and healing, as you would wish, happens fully, partially, or however you choose to answer in this, Father. But I pray that your will is done, that peace is left in this space, Father. I pray peace over Jacqueline. She didn't ask for this right now, and I'm just bringing it anyway. She's just struggling with some things and working things out, and in life sometimes just happens really hard. And I just pray especially that you meet her right where she's at and just carry her through the remainder of this day and into the new week that's to come. And Dave has brought to us his friend Joe, who's celebrating his birthday, but for some reason his birthday gift is an illness. And God, I just pray that there is healing, that he feels well and can celebrate this day, just celebrating his birth on this earth. Father, I don't know why sometimes we are called to walk through these hard things, and yet I believe also that they are so we can gather the lessons that we need to be who you call us to be in this world. It's the brokenness and the hurting in us that help us to be what other people need, because we can empathize and identify with what they're going through. I believe so fully, Father, that that's why you call us to hard things, and I'm deeply grateful that you don't call us to that life without you. It would be impossible without you, Father. I pray, as always, as we cover what you have to say to us today, that the words heard are you and only you, that you remove me so fully out of the way that all that is left is you. And God, I trust that to be the case today, because every time my mind wants to go and sit with this and practice what I'm going to say, there's no words, and yet I know that you are going to show up big today. Father, I'm deeply grateful for what you have shown me just through the study for preparation for today. I look forward to people learning how you offer such a freedom from the bondage that weighs us down. I'm deeply grateful for your son, Jesus, Father. It's through him only that we can even have the opportunity to meet like this. I'm so deeply grateful for what he has worked out as a free gift of love to us, and that's an eternal life of perfection with you. Thank you, Father, for everything. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, I'll be quick with this, but we haven't seen what Ann Smith has said in a while in her What If. So before we get into step 5 today, no signal. Oh, that often feels like life, doesn't it? No signal. Come. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, there we go. I'm just going to open and see what she says. What if? Oh, this is actually quite good with what we're going to be talking about today with this one. Anne Smith was 100 years old when she wrote this book, and it's literally just a list of questions that start with what if, and it's just things to think about. And this one says this: what if thinking I am in control is an illusion? I heard that, Robert. I heard that. Oh, isn't that so true? An illusion. Yes, go back to step 1. I'm going to read today. Good morning. Psalm 51. And then we're going to get into what is step 5. We talked about step 4, and we're like, well, we've already did the fearless searching. Isn't that enough? And we're going to find out that it's not. Ooh, too bad for us, right? No, actually, what a blessing for us. And I'm going to read a psalm written by David, who found himself in this very position. So let's read the words that he had to say about what keeping secrets does to a person. Generous in love, God, give grace. Huge in mercy, wipe out my bad record. Scrub away my guilt and soak out my sins in your laundry. I know how bad I've been. My sins are staring me down. You're the one I violated, and you've seen it all. You've seen the full extent of my evil. You have all the facts before you. Whatever you decide about me is fair. I've been out of step with you for a long time and in the wrong since before I was born. What you're after is truth from the inside out. Enter me then, conceive a new, true life. Soak me in your laundry and I'll come out clean. Scrub me and I'll have a snow white life. Tune me into foot-tapping songs and set these once broken bones to dancing. Don't look too close for blemishes. Give me a clean bill of health. God, make a fresh start in me. Shape a Genesis week from the chaos of my life. Don't throw me out with the trash or fail to breathe holiness in me. Bring me back from gray exile. Put a fresh wind in my sails. Give me a job teaching rebels your way so the lost can find their way home. Commute my death sentence, God, my salvation, God, and I'll sing anthems to your life-giving ways. Unbutton my lips, dear God. I'll let loose with your praise. Going through the motions doesn't please you. A flawless performance is nothing to you. I learned God worship when my pride was shattered. Heart-shattered lives ready for love don't for a moment escape God's notice. Make Zion the place you delight in. Repair Jerusalem's broken down walls, then you'll get real worship from us. Acts of worship, small and large, including all the bulls you can heave onto your altar. That's not talking about a literal Jerusalem there. It's not talking about literal walls. What it's talking about is rebuilding your life, the temple that God lives in now. Those sacrifices and bulls that you need, there's plenty there because it's already covered and done. That was David confessing and bearing everything after he was confronted by the prophet Nathan because he raped a woman and murdered her husband to cover up the sin. There was no affair. If people say David and Bathsheba had an affair, no, they did not. No, they did not. They weren't both confronted. They weren't both made to confess what was done wrong. No, it was David and David alone. David and David alone. Do you know what happened to Bathsheba? She got a place in the family line of Jesus. Her son was Solomon. not the son born of this act. God took that child home. So that child wouldn't grow up in a life of forever being the child born of a rape. And my dad was murdered. Not my dad, but. So even in that story, when I didn't understand, but why the baby? Why did you have to take this child? But then you understand that God in his great love wasn't going to allow a child to grow up bearing the weight of the sins of David. David alone had to carry that all by himself. So he had to watch a mother grieve the loss of a child, knowing he did that to her. And he did that to that child, knowing he killed a man and he took everything from this woman. And he got brought to his knees and finally laid bare his soul. And he talks about the utter freedom that is found in being utterly humbled and brought low. Step 5. Last week we talked about how we need to take a fearless inventory of our lives. Take a really good look at ourselves and be able to look honestly in the mirror and see who exactly we are and what inside of us needs to be cleaned out. What inside of us does not match the dwelling of God. Because if there's darkness in there that you hang on to and keep and refuse to confess to God or others, God won't live in there with that. He's not looking to share a space. It's not a duplex. You don't have one side for darkness and one side for God. Take your pick which side you want to live in. It's a single family home and it's his temple. Those 2 steps. Step 4, it's just you sit with that vision. You sit with that knowledge of knowing who exactly you are. My thoughts, my character flaws, and my shortcomings, things I've done that I continue to struggle with. And that's hard enough to sit with that, I don't like looking in the mirrors on those days. I don't like owning fully exactly who I am. And then we're asked to, Stacy, can I sit down and share some things with you? I need to be accountable and tell you what I found in this fearless searching. I can tell you the searching is everything but lacking in fear. It means you have to be brave and be willing to stand up and go through things we may not want to face. It may mean we have to go back to things that truly crushed and flattened us and still say, I need to clear up my part of this and own how I may have played into some of this. Not in a way to hold us in guilt and shame, but to clear the space so God can fully fill it. God knows what leaving a little bit of that darkness in. It's why he talks about leaven all the time in the Old Testament. There's so many things that are covered that we think about and we cannot for the life of us understand. Like, why did they have to clear all leavening things out of the house before Sabbath? Why? Why was that a thing? What was the importance of that? And it's because of the symbology. Leaven equaled sin, and how even the tiniest little piece getting into something, what happens when you make bread? What happens when you add a tiny bit of yeast? It grows, correct? It multiplies. Anybody that's made sourdough knows that. Just a little bit will keep going and going and going and going. But the thing is, it only takes a tiny bit. The tiniest bit. That's the reason why it's talked about so often. People then understood exactly what that meant. Us today, we're not baking our own bread in our kitchens usually. I would love to get back to that. It's a lot better for you. But we go to the store and buy it already made. So we see things like the leaven and we don't understand. And yet God's saying, you need to clean it all out so I can be fully in. Open up all the doors. Open up all the windows, everything. Why? So the fresh wind of God can come through and clean it. But God, can't I just do that with you? Like, you already know. So, let's just keep that between you and I and we'll just keep going. No, absolutely not. And I'm starting to understand more and more the reason for that. Isn't that so we can kind of keep some of us secret? We don't want to be fully known by anybody. So, Stacy, I'm going to tell you everything, but I'm just going to keep this little bit in my back pocket, because if she knew that about me, she would change her mind about me and judge me. So, I've got 99.5% out, and that's good, and I'll just keep this here. And God, we're good, and thank you for covering it. Don't go part way. Don't go part way, because that part that you may choose to say, I'm not going to speak that to anyone, may be the very thing that God says, but that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to say that because he did that with my back pocket thing that I didn't share with anybody, because of the tremendous shame I felt from it. And then surprise, surprise, that's not my shame to carry. And yet I did, and it affected my entire life. So tell me that keeping something back doesn't affect your life, because it does. I can tell myself all day, oh, but I confessed it to God. So between me and God, bro, we're good. We're good, got it covered. No, I need to live an honest life openly with people. I need to live transparent and open without secrets in community. To know and be known. And everybody's like, well, that is terrifying, because have you met people? Yeah, I have. I sure have. And that's why we're not called to do this with everybody. Not everybody is going to be safe with the darkest of the dark that you feel you have inside of yourself. You have to have discernment. We can leave it there. I don't know how far. We'll just leave it. It's just how I have a feeling I'm just going to be talking and forgetting slides today, and that's okay too. God's family is designed to operate in a specific way for this very reason, because God understands so fully what hidden things will do in a person's life. So the community of God is designed to be a place where you go to share your burdens. What are your burdens? We can say, like I'm running a little short this week and I need some groceries, or, I need to cover the mortgage, or my car broke down. Well, those are burdens to share. But why do we stay so superficial? We're supposed to share the real stuff. We're supposed to be known. We're supposed to be known. Why? Because God has equipped the people sitting in this space to be the support other people in this space needs. But how do you know that if you aren't speaking about it? If I had never spoken about what has happened to me in my past, how would anybody know that I'm a person they could come and speak with and sit with? If everybody in here just sat here very quietly and secretly, overcame, and are in recovery, but never spoke of it, nobody in here even knew that aspect to them, how in the world would those sitting with that issue in their life know, I can talk to this person, there's hope for me? Because when we don't talk about it, it leaves us sitting in spaces with people who we think have it all figured out and are living this great life without problems, but they're thinking the same thing about us. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. Had a great week. Yeah, everything's great. Kids are fine. Oh, yeah, so glad, made it through the work week, kind of had some days there. But, it's good, and we're going to go out for dinner, and it's great. Beautiful to see the sun, though, isn't it? Hey, have a good day. And isn't that the majority of the interactions we have? And as they're walking away, it's like, I'm really dying inside, and I could really use someone to talk to, and if you only knew, and I've got all this lost and nowhere to go with it, but I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks. And you go home and you sit with that. It's why God doesn't want that remaining in you, because what does that feel like when you go home and you sit with that? Unspoken weight inside of you will grow and grow and grow and rob you of life. Trust me, I know. It robbed me of mine for decades. All the time I thought I'm like smashing it away and covering it up. That's what was growing and smashing God out of my life. The light got smaller and smaller, right? Because when you're leaning into God, it actually gets brighter. So if you're feeling like life is just so dark and it's so heavy and it feels like it's crushing and getting darker and I don't know what to do because I'm reading the Bible and I go to church and I listen to praise music and I feel so crushed, I think you need to talk with somebody. Chances are there's things under that you really don't want to talk to somebody, and that means you need to. Do I know how difficult that is? Oh, I do. I've had to talk about things that I'm like, I thought would never come out of my mouth. And how could I do that? The recognition that God was sitting right next to me the entire time I chose to do that to begin with, it's already known. I have more fear of supposedly God knowing than another human. Who do I think I am? God already knows it all. It's not hidden. He was there. He was there. And I'm more afraid of sharing that with somebody else. I sat with that for a little bit of time. And I felt myself all of a sudden, I am really ready to do this. I already know what God thinks of me. I am ready to not live in fear of what people think of me. That was one of those things I kept in my back pocket, the fear of what people are going to think of me. So inside that folder are all those things about me that made me not share because people will change their mind. But I'll share it with God. I'll go that far. These things are jumping all over every time I touch it. I don't have my glasses and now I know I'm going the wrong way. Growing old, they say, growing old. And even that, I am finding what a privilege. What an absolute and utter privilege because of the lessons you keep getting the opportunity to learn. But what happens when you refuse to share and speak openly about everything? Not here in public. You don't have to walk up here today if you want to. If it lays on you like, I need to just say something so I can be done with it. If that happened here today, I can guarantee you there would be tears and celebrations both here and in heaven. But I'm talking to those who have something within them that they just really struggle with. That darkness where they're like, this can never see the light of day. I'm telling you, that must see the light of day so it can be taken from you by God. Because Psalms 32, when I kept silence, my bones waste away and my strength is completely drained. God will not allow you to live a rich, full, comfortable life. And I'm not talking financial. I'm talking grace-filled. God will allow guilt to sit on you and eat at you till your bones feel dust and shattered, till you feel completely brought to the end of yourself, because I know that feeling also. I kept trying to run and he kept allowing, put more weight on her. Put more weight on her. Because I promise you, you will come to a point where it's the last straw that will bring you to your knees. You're broken. Utterly and completely broken. And that weight that you carry, because you feed it darkness, it doesn't stay just this little thing in your pocket. You're going to need a backpack pretty soon. And then you're going to need a duffel bag. And then you're going to have something bigger than you. And then you're going to have a boulder you're going to roll along with you because that thing grows. Maybe nobody knows. But the one who does will continue to allow you to feel this until you bring it into the light. By all means necessary, God will say, I was there and I saw it. It's time to just share it so you can be free of it, come what may. And I know that In the history of the world, sometimes those confessions came with a huge price. But God, if I confess this one, I might not stay free. And God's like, but I'm offering you freedom in a way you may not be thinking. Yeah, you're right. And I couldn't even imagine grappling with that one. That's like the extreme gamut. At the, I really did something awful and this is in me and I need to be free of this. And guess what? Jesus died for that too. Jesus died for that too. There was nothing that Jesus said was excluded from his blood being enough to cover. Do you remember David raped somebody and then murdered a husband? You don't think he had blood on his hands? Do you think he slept well? We know that he didn't because he wrote openly about the fact that he couldn't sleep day and night. There was no escaping the weight of what he'd done day and night, day and night, day and night. The king, he had everything, including Bathsheba. He had it all, right? He had nothing because he didn't have his peace and he knew God had removed himself from him. God in his mercy sent that prophet to him to humble him to his knees. I can just picture David, the prophet comes with this story about that sweet little lamb. And if you know me, I can already picture, oh, it's so cute. And this beautiful little lamb that this poor man loves like family. And it lives in the house with him. And he's raising this with all the love in the world. And it eats with them. And it's loved and it's precious to him. He doesn't have another. And his rich neighbor has people coming over, and rich neighbor with all of his lambs out there says, I'm going to take that one. So he took the only beloved, precious lamb this man had and slaughtered it and prepared it for the meal and fed it. And David was outraged. Absolute outrage. Bring that man to me. Bring that man to me. He's going to pay. What do you think David felt when Nathan just looked at him and said, that man is you? What do you think that felt like? He took from that husband the one thing most precious. That lamb was Bathsheba. That precious lamb, beloved by your husband, who was loyal to David, so loyal that when David tried to cover his sins by getting her husband home from the war front, where David should have been, David refused to go home to his wife and slept in the doorway of David's palace. David's like, well, that didn't work, so he then gave him a letter to bring to the commander that was his death sentence. He made that man carry his death sentence to the very front line. That man knew he was going to die, and he did it. That was David. That was David. That was a thought out, planned, intentional murder. That was David. David thinking about it, it wasn't enough, and David sure thought about it because, again, the Psalms read about it. He was crushed over and over and over and over, the weeping and the suffering and the agony. The prodigal son is another example of this. Give it to me now. I'm going to go out and do my own thing. This is fun. I don't want to wait till you're dead, Dad. Give me the money now. I want your inheritance now. I don't want to wait for you to die. Give it to me now. And his father did. It's kind of what God did with Jesus on the cross. It's yours. I give it to you. I'm going to claim that. Then I'm going to go do whatever I want. And he found himself fighting with pigs in a pig pen trying to eat food. This Jew who saw pigs as filthy and unclean was now fighting with them just to eat and thinking about how the servants in his dad's house had it better than I do. Can I just go be a servant at home? I want to be a servant at home, that's all. I don't need anything. Do you think he had to humble himself to go home? Do you think he had to own and admit and speak it? And what happens on the other end? God's like, I've been waiting for you. You just needed to speak it and say it and be free of it and come home. It's not too much. But David, too, like us, we can't just sit and think about it and call that good enough. We have to confess it to be free of it. Publicly or to somebody else at the very minimum. Imagine a life free of what you're carrying. Imagine it. The only thing that stands in the way of having it is saying those words to somebody to just let it go. God will allow it to feel heavy, even though He's forgiven you, until you've spoken it to free yourself fully of it. God said, I didn't put you here to sit by yourself with me. I called you to be in community with other people to know more about me and to be my hands and feet. I have people ready to be hands and feet for you when you're ready to confess this and be free. I am absolutely certain that prodigal son never in a million years thought, Dad's going to throw a big old party to celebrate me coming back home and restore me as a son? After what I've done? That's what I get? Like I so disrespected my dad. I said, you're not even dead yet, and I want the money and give it to me. And then he welcomed me back with open arms, with full restoration, and didn't hold it against me. And more than that, one of my favorite things about that prodigal son story was learning in that culture. That father that ran, he looked and saw him a ways off, and that's our God. Sees us a ways off, turning to come home. And what did he do? He lifted up his robe and he ran down the road. And in that culture, elders never ran anywhere because it was undignified. You would have never seen a father running to meet a son. That father would have stood, and it was to the son. They had to do the hustle to get there. But that's not how God works. I'm running. I'm not waiting for you to get all the way here. I am running to you because I saw you turn to look for me. I'm coming to walk back home with you. There's so many things that we can read in the Bible and we're not getting really the full idea of what was actually happening in these stories. God didn't wait on us to get all the way back home. I'm coming to walk with you back home because I know this is hard to do. But just do it. We have to just drop the act. We need to stop living lives that are fake and make them transparent. You know, social media is the perfect example. What do you see? Everybody's messy life and all their failures? Because, you know, that's what I see on Facebook. Go look at somebody else's just like me and has a messy life, right? Or is it that perfect profile picture? I try to get those. It takes me like 87 pictures to finally think this one's good. Is that angle good, or is my, you know, all this stuff that we look at, and it's so ridiculous because everybody knows what I look like. So why am I worried about a particular picture? Because you've all seen me at every angle. And yet we do that. Why? Because I'm trying to make myself look a certain way. How exhausting is that? How exhausting is that? Oh, is this the right style? Are they doing hair this way? Well, this isn't even a style today. This is wash and go, but You know, I look at all these amazing things, and sometimes at home I even practice it, like, oh, that's a cute little do, and then I do, and then I'm like, I don't even know what girls do with hair. Like, how do you do that? How do you get this into that? Well, think about life like this, wash and go. It's a mess. But now we've washed and gone. Do you think God's not going to teach you what to do with it? Do you think God is not going to be there waiting for you in this new, clean, ready to go life? Like, it'd be like God saying, girl, I know how to do your hair. I got you. Just come to me as you are. And how often do we do that? How often do we walk through life exactly as we are? Or are we polished up? That burnished surface, that was a story in the Bible, how on the outside, this beautiful burnished cup, it's absolutely beautiful and glowing, and inside is full of all the most vile of stuff it could possibly hold. Is that what our lives look like? Do we live outwardly, or do we live from the inside? Because that's what step 5 is getting at. Let's clean those insides. You've thought about it. You know what's there. I know what's in my junk closet too, and I know it's got to be cleaned out. And we're in the process of that. But isn't that the same with our lives? Just looking at it and knowing it's there isn't enough. It has to be taken out. And sometimes in that process, that means we have to speak it to another person. Share that so you can really clean house. But that means from that point on, you have to live a life being you, as you are. This temple that God lives in. So what are the things that your life should look like? Remember the fruit of the Spirit, where we started in the beginning with Church in Fenwick. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, perseverance, self-control. And I challenge you again, if everybody lived their life with those attributes, what would it be like living in this world? Can you imagine if everybody lived in love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, perseverance, and self-control? Please. I know. And that's what God is offering. I'm asking you to give up what you're holding onto so I can give you that. Because when your house is cleaned out and you don't have to hide secrets that you're afraid of people knowing, you're free to just live your life in the fruit of the Spirit. There's nothing to hide anymore. Who is it that makes us afraid of this? Matthew 23, clean the inside, and then the outside will be clean too. We're doing it in reverse. All God's creatures always know when. God is saying, stop acting and be real. Because we wash in reverse, just the outside. We're just real pretty, and we keep quiet what's on the inside. And God's like, I'm calling you to be inside out. Scrub those insides and let it show on the outside. That's what it means. Clean the inside so the outside will be clean. This isn't a punishment. Step 5 is not a punishment. This isn't a good or bad. This isn't a judgment. This is I am so excited to get my freedom. I am clearing house. That dying to self, that's what step 5 is. Dying to self, I'm letting it go by confessing it to another person. That means I now have accountability. Accountability is a beautiful gift. It means you have people in your life who love you enough to want for you the very thing you want also. You just need help getting there. I need accountability in the boundaries. I'm so grateful that my impulsive mouth had myself blurting out my back pocket things in such a public way. Like I couldn't believe I was doing it. But I walked out of that situation feeling light as air. And I'm like, what in the world is this? I thought I was going to feel so crushed and flattened because I had just shared some really ugly stuff about me. I felt like I was walking on air. For the first time in my life, I had nothing that I was afraid of somebody finding out. Open book, right here. I don't have to walk around telling everybody in every detail about it, but I don't live a life hiding it. I just don't, because I'm so excited about this part. It's pretty remarkable how these things work. All these people, let's just talk about it from that recovery perspective, so resistant to the 12 steps. I hear 12 steps and immediately I see the eyes rolling, all the grumbling, the pictures, crotchety old men barking out their one-liners that I've come to love so much. You know, might hear language not heard in the Bible. Coffee might not be, Starbucks. And you can, sometimes you can understand. I kind of understood. I'm kind of not wired to sit just at a table and do particular things a certain way. But the reality is this. Those foundations in that process are powerful things in your life. I watched it be a powerful thing for recovery. And when I started looking at it from simply a spiritual perspective, like what did the 12 steps look like if Jesus was talking about the 12 steps? What would it look like in, oh my goodness. The realization of how beautiful this process is to build your life on. I can't say it enough. Those first 3 steps that people blow through, that's where you need to take the time. Make sure you understand 1, 2, and 3. Everybody's, oh, that was easy, got those done. Did you? I don't think you did, because it didn't take me that short of a time to surrender when I really realized what it was asking me to do. Surrender. This ego put up a fight. I found out how big my ego is because I hung on to things I didn't even realize were ego. Volunteer for everything and serve everybody all the time to the point where I get bitter at home because I'm running to the ground and exhausted. That's ego. I wasn't serving because I love you. I'm serving to feed my ego. I'd humble myself. Humble myself. Service is never about getting. So if that's what I'm trying to do, Heidi, humble yourself. Get your ego out of the way. Hanging on to my anxiety, my guilt, and my shame. I was such a good professional at this one. I could carry shame and guilt and all this stuff like a champ. The Academy Award for the person carrying the most guilt goes to. That's all ego. I'm going to carry this, Jesus. This one's too much for you. I know you covered everything on the cross, but I'm unique. And then Dave told me I'm not. So then I had to hand that over and humble myself because that's ego. I didn't like knowing there's a lot of ego in me. And I think we all have to suffer with that. Because anything that puts a barrier to our complete trust in God's ability to make sure life goes well for you is your ego. So how much of that do we do? Please tell me other people do, because I don't want to be the only one. I try to help God all the time, because I so piously can think, God, you're so busy. So I have a plan, and I'm just going to go with that one. My plans are frequently stopped in their tracks, sometimes in unusual and unexpected ways. a beautiful conversation with Dave about that today. You can make all the plans and look so forward to something, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get here, and I'm going to, and all of a sudden your vehicle just completely dies and you're dead on the road, and God's like, you ain't doing none of that. He's willing to do that. He's willing to do that because he has someplace he's going to put you because you need to be there. Maybe it's just to say, I heard you say the words that you trust my plan in your life. Are you going to do it now, or is this going to derail you because you really wanted what was on the other side of that? I fight with that a lot. I have plans to go do something fun. Then a phone call comes and somebody's really going through it and they really, really need someone to talk to. And I'm like, there goes my plans, and I go to war against the bitterness of that because I really wanted to do that. And God's like, I really need you to be my hands and feet and love somebody right now. Is your having fun more important than that? Mm-hmm. Ego. My needing to have fun is never more important than somebody needing Jesus. Formula for wholeness, it's really pretty easy. Confess it to God, it's forgiven. Bring it to others and you'll find healing. You have to do the two things together because God works through those that you bring it to. This isn't a one-time thing. And what I really love the most about the early church, it's why I have such a heart for having a church community, because church isn't a building and it's not walls and it's not a roof and it's not the name and it's not a denomination. It's the living, breathing people in this space. It's why I wanted something that looked a lot more like the early church, because they practiced this. They did step 4 and 5 all the time with each other. They shared life together openly. They held each other up and walked through life with each other. Why? Because it kept their entire community healthy. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? How has the church gotten so far away from such a beautiful thing? What church is supposed to be to what church so often is. For those of us who sit in this space that may have grown up in church for decades on end, how often is this done there? How often did you sit in church and hear people speak openly about the realities of their life? Tom, did you hear that openly all the time?
No, but you know what just popped in my head as you talk about that? Because there's not some, at least here in America, there's not a fear of persecution.
I know.
They did have it back then. And so if you go to some of these other countries, it's a lot like that.
It is. I envy that. I have an envy for that because that's real desire to know God and to know Jesus. That's real desire to have the freedom that he offers. They're willing to die for it. And we're willing to go to some particular place once a week with no fear whatsoever and be shallow when we have every opportunity available to us in this country to live openly and freely in our Christian faith. I want church in the way it looked before, where those relationships run deep because it's family, where the people you could trust to share these things with are the people you were church with, because they were safe people that weren't there to condemn you, but to uplift you and keep you on that path and celebrate with you. Isn't God amazing? Isn't God amazing? Oh, okay. Oh, don't wait for the yearly review. This isn't an annual thing. It's not like doing taxes. Well, I guess I have to gather up all my shortcomings and failures and address that and get those filed and take care of it for the year. If only that would be nice. Just submit that and put the stamp on it and send it, or click send, whatever. No, take care of it right away. Whether it's road rage, and yeah, I leave that on there because you know that's me. I am so much better now, though, so celebrate that. God is at work in that area.
Yes, he is.
I know, it's different, isn't it? I have continued on with what I listen to in the vehicle is what I need to keep myself from raging. You know, I have a rocker heart inside this body, but sometimes that music is angsty and it pushes you towards emotions that you don't need when you're already feeling a certain way about something in words. You know, what are you putting into your head? What are you feeding? And I made the deliberate choice in that small space of a vehicle. I need to fill my head with things that are good and positive and uplifting and educational. It's often praise music, and I'm the crazy ones with the hands, and I'm car dancing at the light, and I'm singing, yes, I've had the looks, and yes, I don't care. But when I have those road rages, I'm cleaning it up immediately. God, I know you saw that. I am sorry. I'll wave to the people around me. They don't know what I'm talking to. Now I'm the crazy lady waving and saying things, but I'm just trying to clean up my side of the street and be a better person, or snapping at a friend who is trying to help, or, oh, do you ever secretly judge anybody?
All the time.
We got to clean those up when it happens. God, help me not to see them that way, because there's somebody you died for too. You have my full permission to judge people if God did not send his son to die for them. Those people you can judge. So if you can find them, feel free to judge. But I don't think you'll find them, because he died for everybody. So we can't be those Christians who line up behind certain groups or certain people or whoever they might be and choose to hate them, because Jesus died for them too.
It's hard.
It's very hard. It's the reason why the powers that be wanted Jesus to die. Because the message that he brought was a message that didn't include room for hatred. And that is a unifying message. So powers that be don't like messages that unify people in love. They recognized what they were hearing, and they recognize that that doesn't work well with the way they run and operate their system. So, you know, political moves too. It's all part of God's plan, but that's why they hated him, was because of his message. Talked about David. Zacchaeus he had some cleanup, but there's Peter. There's Peter. You know, I like to think I have a little bit of Peter. I'm impulsive too, and jump up and claim all these things, and then oof, I get flattened, because, you know, he was vehemently, God, I'm with you everywhere. I will always be here, and I'm slicing off ears and defending you, and I'm a Jesus person, because you hear me say all the time, I'm a Jesus girl, and man, Peter, I'm a Jesus disciple. I'm a Jesus follower. Jesus, wherever you go, they'll have to get through me to get to you. And then he's having to prove that. And what happened right after? I don't know him. I don't know that man. They come back, aren't you? Didn't I? And then he got colorful, you know, words not said in the Bible. Those started coming out. I don't know him. Just getting louder and more aggressive about it. And then again, don't know him. I don't know him. Denying. I have literal chills thinking about what would it have been like to hear a rooster and to look up and catch Jesus in the face, looking at you. Peter, I told you were going to do this. And you denied it, and denied it, and denied it. Never, never, never. That wasn't his faith speaking, Peter's. That was his ego. I would never do that. In the very next breath, you sure were, over and over and over publicly. At a time when Jesus probably most needed people to support and love and stand up for, they all left. Like Palm Sunday, all the people celebrating, he's here, he's here, he's here in the palm trees, and he's on the donkey, and King of Kings in this massive celebration. And now they are just screaming to crucify him. They're the same people. And those same people are us. It's easy for us to say we wouldn't have done that. I would not have been out there saying crucify him. I probably would have been. If I was the same ones that would have been laying down the palm branches, I would have been the same ones saying crucify him, because the Bible says they're the same people. Who do I think I am? I think I would have been the righteous one in that time. But Peter had the opportunity to clean that up and confess that openly. He just didn't clean it up in his mind. He didn't just remember that I did. He had the opportunity 3 times. I love you. You know that I love you. I love you. You know that I love you. I love you. You know that I love you. The same number of times that he denied, Jesus gave him the opportunity to say, God, I love you. God, I love you. Jesus, I love you. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. And he did willingly and freely. Jesus wasn't getting nailed to that cross all angry at Peter. How dare you deny me? He knew he was going to do that. Hurt. Remember, Jesus was fully human. Felt emotions the same way I do. What do you think that felt like? The human aspect. The perfect, fully human, looking at him in the face as you heard him say, I don't know the man. Do you know what I'm going to do for you right now? Stop hustling and start resting. This isn't the stage after we do this where you have to hustle and try to look perfect and have it all together and be the perfect person. God didn't ask you for that. He didn't ask you to clean house so you make no mistakes for the rest of your life. He was simply teaching you how to house clean. So instead of now having a junk room that needs to be cleaned out every so often, you get to walk around with your house freshly cleaned and aired out and taken care of. Nothing to worry about later, nothing to get to, just the absolute ability to live your life in full freedom, to simply live, because you clean up as it happens. Step 5 is just doing the work that you've been putting off for a very long time because you want what comes on the other side of it. I can promise you that the idea of speaking it openly to somebody is far more scary than the actual doing of it is. The enemy's really good at that. So Romans 12, take your ordinary, everyday life, all that is, and place it entirely into the light. What happens to a dark room when you turn the light on? Is there darkness in there? The same things happens to those dark spaces in you. If you never shine a light on it, why do you live in expectation that it's just going to leave? Well, I acknowledged it and closed the door. It's there. Why is it still there? It's going to continue to be there. Every time you open that door, it'll still be there. It's time to take that out, isn't it? And to share it with somebody who is safe in your life. And if you don't have somebody that is that, you need to find that. That means you may need to learn to trust somebody enough to share that with. Can that hurt sometimes? Sometimes, yes. Absolutely. But I've had that happen too, and you know what? Betrayal can hurt, but it didn't take the freedom I felt being free of the secret. Because as soon as I shared it It had no power anymore. Fear, there's a song we sing, He is a liar, because fear is the enemy, and he is a liar. It's fear that keeps you from speaking to other people what needs to be spoken so you can be free. And he's lying. Step 5 isn't just a difficult conversation. It is a brave, life-changing choice to stop hiding, speak your truth, and let yourself be washed entirely clean. Psalm 51 that I've read, soak me in your laundry and I'll come out clean. God, wash us in your laundry so we can come out clean. I am so hoping that whether you're in recovery or not in recovery, you have an interest in these 12 steps just as a spiritual foundation. At the freedom that it offers. I used to have such a big issue with lying because I had a back pocket full of things I wanted to hide, and that required lies. And I became a liar. I know who the father of lies is. I know who that is. I didn't want to be a liar anymore. I didn't want to be a liar or an embellisher or any of that. Can I just speak truth? God, I want to be someone that speaks truth. God, I take this away. I'm waiting on you. And God's like, I'm waiting on you to speak truth. Like I have to say it out loud to somebody? Like, that's what you're waiting? Like, another human being, like, can I? If that's what you want, you have to be that and speak that and practice that. I don't get to restart on a fresh life with my old ways. If I'm doing this with my old ways, I'm just rereading a book that's already been completed, or should have been. Why do I keep going back to it? This is the start of the new. In a way that I think you have no idea of until you've actually done it. It's a powerful step. And it's necessary. You will never find freedom until you've spoken your full truth, no matter what it is. So your challenge, find somebody. Find somebody and let it out and be done with it so you can carry on with your life in a way that is a joy. I keep telling people, do steps 1, 2, 3. 4 and 5 get really easy when you're strong on the first 3 because you start to understand it's all about him. All about him. And if he's covered it and taken care of it, why are we so hung up on not doing the work? It doesn't matter what you've done. I promise. It doesn't matter what you've done, what you've thought, where you've been, where you've gone, how you've treated people, how you've not treated people. It simply doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I've never gone to church, if I've been away forever, if I curse, if I do this, if I lie or cheat or steal or all the things, name it. Name it. Everything from murder to lying to this to that, it doesn't matter. Jesus said, I covered it. When are you going to let me cover it? Because to do so means you have to get it out of you and give it to me fully. You will never be free until you do this. It's impossible. Darkness keeps you in bondage and the light makes you free. Amen. This has been an exhausting study for me. I have been convicted in so many ways. It's an interesting way for me to go through the steps again. And I am cleaning house, and I thought I'd cleaned house before. There is lots of leaven, you know. I had lots of it inside of me that would affect the things that come in. So I'm hoping that there's takeaways from others about this and maybe think about it differently. It's especially my hope that people that are not in recovery from drugs and alcohol look at the 12 steps and the foundation that is in a very different way and want that also. Because if your life isn't built on that foundation, that first storm coming through is just going to wash it away. Give yourself the gift of a foundation that will never leave you no matter where you're at. My husband found it in prison, in solitary confinement, where he spent 2 years. If you didn't think God brought him to the end of himself, it took Let. And God knew this man needed solitary for 2 years. 2 years all by himself, and you know him. Talk about getting to the end of yourself. But what did God do? He found him. Because what happened there, he owned it, saw it, and confessed it. I've read it in the letters he wrote. God will bring you to the very end of yourself in the attempt to bring you freedom. You can still say no to it, but I am begging you, say yes. Say yes. Because somehow this individual who's not wired for solitary confinement in prison in Nevada for 2 years found freedom. That's the kind of freedom I want. I want the kind of freedom that goes with me no matter where I'm at, even if somehow I find myself into a solitary confinement cell. I want to feel as free there as I know he was when God found him there and talked to him. It's there for all of us.